Spring bloomed across Phoenix, Arizona. Desert flowers burst with vibrant colors, filling the air with hope. Elena Vasquez had taught special education at Lincoln Elementary for 12 years. Isabella, breakfast is ready. Elena called from the kitchen while preparing eggs and toast. Diego sat at the breakfast bar with his laptop and coffee. Good morning, Daddy. Isabella bounded downstairs and hugged her father. At 12, she had her mother's warm eyes and father's quick smile. You're starting tutoring today, aren't you? Elena asked, setting down a plate. Yes, math and science prep for 7th grade. I'm excited to meet everyone, Isabella replied, spreading jam on toast. Elena and Diego shared proud looks at their daughter's enthusiasm. If you like it, we can sign you up for summer too, her mother offered. Isabella's eyes sparkled with delight. Thanks, Mom. I hope there are kids my age. After breakfast, Isabella grabbed her backpack. The Vasquez and Chen families had connected when Isabella and Lily joined the same advanced math group. The girls bonded over art while parents began talking more. Marcus Chen was a prominent corporate attorney with polished appearance and commanding presence. His wife Vivian was a former CPA who managed their household and Lily's schedule. They appeared perfectly arranged from outside. However, Elena noticed troubling signs in Lily's artwork and interactions. Lily became quiet when her father picked her up, and Vivian constantly apologized. Elena, Lily's artwork is so creative. Maybe Isabella would enjoy art classes? Vivian approached Elena after a parent meeting. Despite warm weather, she wore long sleeves and nervously adjusted them. Absolutely. Isabella loves drawing. I'd get information about programs. Elena's professional instincts sensed something wrong. Lily's apartment is amazing, Mom. Her dad's successful. They live on the top floor with incredible views. Friday afternoon, Isabella chattered excitedly as Elena packed supplies. Unease formed in Elena's stomach. Is everything okay? Diego noticed tension in his wife's face. I'm probably being overprotective since it's her first time at a friend's place, Elena said unconvincingly. You worry too much, honey. Isabella's mature, and the Chens seem respectable, he said. Elena felt slightly reassured by Diego's logic. You're right, Elena managed a smile. I'm ready. Isabella hugged both parents and rushed to the elevator where Marcus waited. Marcus nodded cordially with a practiced smile. I'll make sure she has fun. Vivian will bring her home by dinner, he said. His controlled demeanor unsettled Elena. Thank you for having her, Elena said. Elena's teacher intuition nagged as she watched Marcus's sedan disappear. Diego guided Elena to their living room for rare quiet time together. Elena leaned into his embrace, trying to push away growing worry. Isabella and Lily's friendship had blossomed beautifully in just the first month of tutoring together. Though they seemed to have contrasting personalities, that difference appeared to strengthen their bond. Isabella was outgoing and expressive, always eager to share her ideas and make others laugh with her stories. Lily, in contrast, was thoughtful and observant, preferring to listen carefully before speaking and often creating the most insightful artwork in their group. Lily is incredibly talented, but she never wants to show her drawings to anyone. When the instructor asks her to share, she always has the most amazing work, Isabella had explained to her mother. As Elena listened to her daughter's descriptions, she remembered Lily's reaction during their first meeting at the tutoring center. The girl had flinched noticeably when a male tutor had approached to help with her math problems. Elena had initially attributed it to normal shyness around new adults, but now she wondered if there might be a deeper reason behind that response. Mom, what do you think about Lily's mom? Isabella asked during one of their car rides home. Vivian? She seems very caring, but I've noticed she appears quite stressed sometimes, Elena replied thoughtfully. I think so too. Whenever Lily's dad comes to pick up Lily, her mom gets really quiet and apologetic about everything, even things that aren't problems, she said. Elena was struck by her daughter's perceptive observation. Isabella possessed not only natural empathy but also an unusual ability to read the emotional undercurrents around her. As spring progressed into early summer, Isabella and Lily's friendship continued to grow stronger. They started collaborating on art projects and spent increasing amounts of time together after their tutoring sessions. However, they consistently met at the Vasquez apartment rather than at Lily's penthouse home. "How come you two never hang out at Lily's place?" Elena asked casually one afternoon. When she posed the question, Isabella's response seemed oddly evasive. "Her dad doesn't really like having kids over. He says it disturbs his work concentration." Those words planted a seed of concern in Elena's mind. Marcus Chun built his career on client relationships and public appearances. It seemed inconsistent with his professional image to be unwelcoming toward children. By late April, as Elena encountered Vivian more frequently at school events and tutoring center activities, she began paying closer attention to subtle details. Despite the warm Arizona spring weather, she noticed that Vivian consistently wore clothing that covered her arms and neck completely. Elena also observed how Vivian would excuse herself and step away to take calls from Marcus, speaking in hushed, careful tones. "Vivian, would you like to grab coffee together sometime next week?" Elena decided to extend a friendly invitation. Vivian's expression showed genuine surprise at the suggestion. "Oh, that sounds lovely, but I should probably check Marcus's calendar first. I was thinking just the two of us. Some mom time while the girls are in their sessions. Marcus must have a packed schedule with his law practice, right?" Elena said. Elena sensed Vivian relax slightly at the clarification. "Yes, I would really enjoy that." "Let me see what works," Vivian said. Unfortunately, that coffee meeting never materialized. Vivian later sent a text apologizing, saying that family obligations had come up unexpectedly. In early May, Isabella brought up a request during their family dinner. "Mom, Dad, could I spend Saturday afternoon at Lily's apartment? She wants to show me her art studio." Diego responded without hesitation. "Sure, that sounds like a great opportunity." But Elena found herself pausing, feeling uncertain. "Is something wrong, Mom?" Isabella asked, noticing her mother's hesitation. "No, nothing's wrong. I just want to make sure all the details are clear since it's your first time visiting their home." "I'll be fine, Mom. I'm almost 13 now. Plus, Lily's dad is a lawyer, so their place is probably super safe, right?" Isabella's reasoning, meant to be reassuring, actually heightened Elena's unease. The fact that Marcus held a position of legal authority made her concerns feel more complex rather than less. Elena struggled to distinguish between normal parental caution and the professional instincts that had served her well with troubled students. "Okay, but I want you to text me regularly and call if anything feels uncomfortable," Elena said. "I promise, Mom," Isabella agreed with an understanding nod. That evening, Elena shared her mixed feelings with Diego. He wrapped his arms around her shoulders and spoke gently. "Elena, sometimes your teacher training makes you see problems that aren't there. Isabella is mature and responsible. The Chens are a well-established family in the community. I know you're right. It's just that I get the feeling Vivian is keeping something hidden. She becomes so different when Marcus is around, almost fearful," Elena said. "Every marriage has its own dynamic. Not every couple communicates as openly as we do," Diego reasoned with his characteristic logic. Elena exhaled slowly, releasing some of her tension. "You're probably right. Maybe I'm reading too much into normal family stress," Elena said. As Saturday approached, Isabella's anticipation became infectious. She talked enthusiastically about seeing Lily's private art space and learning about the expensive drawing materials her friend had access to. Saturday morning, Elena carefully packed Isabella's day bag with snacks, art supplies, and emergency contacts. "Mom, I already checked everything twice. I'm not a little kid anymore," Isabella said with mild exasperation. "It's just my way of showing I care," Elena replied with an affectionate smile. That afternoon, Marcus Chen arrived precisely on time in his sleek black Mercedes. Isabella gathered her things eagerly, practically bouncing with excitement about the planned activities. "I appreciate you allowing Isabella to visit. Vivian will make sure she gets home safely by evening." Marcus addressed Elena with his usual professional courtesy. Thank you for including her. I know she's been looking forward to this. Though Elena responded warmly, that familiar teacher's intuition continued to whisper warnings in the back of her mind. She stood in the lobby watching until the expensive car merged into the afternoon traffic. When she returned upstairs, Diego had already begun preparing ingredients for a special dinner they rarely had time to make together. Come here, let's make the most of having the place to ourselves for a few hours, he said. As Elena watched Diego stirring the homemade marinara sauce, she whispered to herself, everything will be okay. Isabella is smart and capable. After their leisurely dinner, Elena and Diego settled into their comfortable sectional sofa, sharing a bottle of wine while a romantic comedy played softly in the background. They were savoring the rare opportunity for uninterrupted conversation that had become precious after 12 years of marriage and busy careers. The wall clock displayed 8:30 p.m. Any updates from Isabella? Diego asked, swirling the wine in his glass. Yes, she sent a quick text when she got there. Made it safely. Working on art projects. Talk later, Elena replied, showing him her phone screen. See? I told you there was nothing to worry about, Diego said with a gentle smile. At that exact moment, Elena's phone buzzed insistently with an incoming message. Looking at the notification, she saw it was from Vivian Chen. 8:35 p.m. It seemed unusual to receive a text from another parent this late on a weekend evening. A chill of unease ran down Elena's spine. She opened the message thread and her breath caught in her throat. Elena, please come get Isabella now. Don't call first. Just come. Please hurry. The message was followed immediately by another one. Something terrible has happened. I can't explain over text. Top floor, Unit 4501. Elena's hands began to shake as she read the desperate words. Diego, something's very wrong, Elena said, her voice tight with fear as she showed him the messages. Diego immediately set down his wine glass and focused on the screen. What could have happened? He asked, already reaching for his keys. I don't know, but Vivian sounds terrified. I need to go right now. Elena was already grabbing her purse and jacket. I'm coming with you, Diego said firmly. No, wait here in case Isabella calls the house phone. This might be something Vivian needs another woman to handle. Elena rushed toward the door, her heart pounding with maternal fear. The evening desert air felt unusually cool against her skin as she hurried to their car. As Elena drove through the city streets, her mind raced through every possible scenario, each one more frightening than the last. The Chen family's luxury high-rise was located in the most exclusive part of downtown Phoenix. The gleaming glass tower that normally represented success and security now seemed imposing and cold under the harsh streetlights. Elena's hands trembled as she pressed the elevator button for the 45th floor. When the elevator doors opened, she saw Vivian waiting in the hallway. Vivian looked completely different from the composed woman Elena knew. Her usually perfect hair hung loose around her face, her designer clothes were wrinkled, and her eyes were red and swollen from crying. Most shocking of all, Elena could see dark finger-shaped bruises on Vivian's upper arms where her torn sleeve had fallen away. Vivian. Elena rushed toward her. Vivian didn't speak, just grasped Elena's hands desperately. Her fingers felt like ice and wouldn't stop shaking. Where's Isabella? Is she hurt? Elena asked, trying to keep her voice steady despite her panic. Vivian pointed toward the apartment and managed to whisper through her tears. In Lily's room. They are there together. Then she squeezed Elena's hands tighter and continued in a barely audible voice. Please, you need to see what they found. But be very quiet, Vivian said. Elena felt completely lost and confused. She had no idea what crisis had unfolded, but Vivian's terror told her that something devastating had occurred. Where is Marcus? Elena asked, looking around the empty hallway nervously. At his office, but he could come back any minute. We have to hurry, Vivian urged. Following Vivian's lead, Elena entered the spacious penthouse apartment. She walked quickly through the silent living room with its floor-to-ceiling windows and expensive modern furniture. The hallway leading to the bedrooms was dimly lit, with soft light coming from under one closed door. As Elena approached that door, she could hear quiet voices from inside. Isabella and Lily's voices, speaking in hushed, serious tones. Elena knocked gently and slowly opened the door. Isabella? As she stepped into the room, she saw both girls sitting cross-legged on the bed, surrounded by dozens of drawings and paintings spread across the comforter. Both children looked up with solemn expressions that seemed far too mature for their 12 years. Isabella's face showed a mixture of relief and worry when she saw her mother. "Mom? Why are you here?" Isabella asked. "I got a message from Vivian," Elena began, then turned her attention to the artwork scattered across the bed. At that moment, her breath caught in her throat. The drawings showed scenes that made her heart ache. One picture depicted a large dark figure towering over a smaller figure cowering on the ground. Another showed a woman with tears streaming down her face, her body covered in angry red and purple marks. The most disturbing piece was titled in a child's careful handwriting, "Daddy's Mad Face," and showed a man with wild, frightening features and raised fists. "What are these?" Elena whispered, her voice barely audible. Isabella stood up and moved closer to her mother. "Mom, we've been documenting everything," she said with a seriousness that seemed far beyond her 12 years. "Lily and her mom have been hurt by her dad for a long time. Nobody believed them, so Lily started drawing what happened," Isabella said. Elena looked at Lily, seeing a strength in the quiet girl's eyes that she had never noticed before. "I draw everything I see," Lily said in a voice so soft Elena had to lean in to hear her. "After Daddy thinks we're asleep, he gets angry." Her small voice cracked with emotion. Isabella wrapped her arm protectively around her friend's shoulders and continued. "Lily has been keeping these drawings hidden in her art portfolio. Her teacher at school thinks she just has a very active imagination, but this is all real," Isabel said. Elena felt sick as the cruel truth revealed in the children's artwork suddenly made everything clear: Vivian's nervous behavior, her long sleeves in warm weather, and Lily's fearful reactions to authority figures. "Why didn't you tell someone about this?" Elena finally managed to ask. "I tried." Elena turned to see Vivian standing in the doorway. Her face was still wet with tears, but there was a fierce determination burning in her eyes that Elena had never seen before. "In the beginning, I went to my doctor, to a counselor, but Marcus is so well respected in this city." "Mrs. Chen, are you sure you're not exaggerating? Your husband seems like such a successful, stable man," they said. "Marcus told people I was having emotional problems from the stress of being a lawyer's wife." She took a shaky breath and pushed her hair back with trembling fingers. "But tonight," he raised his hand to Lily. "I couldn't let him hurt my baby anymore." "Not my daughter," Vivian said. Suddenly, from the hallway, they heard the distinctive ping of the elevator arriving on their floor. All the color drained from Vivian's face. Lily let out a frightened whimper and grabbed Isabella's hand so tightly her knuckles turned white. "Marcus is home," Vivian whispered, terror making her voice barely audible. The sound of the apartment door opening echoed through the penthouse and everyone in the room froze. "Vivian? Lily? What's going on in there?" A cold, commanding voice filled the apartment. "Lily, gather your most important things. Isabella, put those drawings in your backpack. We're leaving right now," Elena whispered urgently. Both girls moved quickly and quietly. Lily stuffed essential items into her school bag while Isabella carefully collected the artwork evidence. "Vivian? I know you're here. Answer me." Marcus's voice grew louder and more demanding, and they could hear his expensive shoes clicking across the marble floor as he searched for them. Vivian stood paralyzed with fear against the wall. Elena grasped her shoulders firmly and looked directly into her eyes. "Vivian, this is your chance to escape. I'm getting you and Lily out of here tonight," Elena said. Tears streamed down Vivian's face, but she managed a small, brave nod. The footsteps were getting closer and more deliberate. "Family meeting. Everyone to the living room. Now," he said. Marcus's voice carried the tone of someone accustomed to absolute obedience, but Elena could hear the dangerous edge beneath his controlled words. The sound of the bedroom door handle turning made everyone's hearts stop. The door swung open and Marcus Chen appeared in the doorway. His tailored suit and polished appearance remained impeccable, but his eyes burned with a cold fury that made Elena's blood run cold. "Well, Elena, this is unexpected. What brings you to our home at this hour?" He flashed his practiced professional smile, but his eyes held no warmth whatsoever. His sharp gaze quickly took in the scene, the scattered drawings, the packed bags, and the terrified faces of his wife and daughter. "I came to pick up Isabella," Elena said, forcing her voice to remain steady despite her racing heart. "Is that so? But I thought the girls were having a sleepover. It's only 9:30 in the evening." Marcus glanced at his expensive watch with theatrical precision. "Change of plans," Elena replied with as much confidence as she could muster. "Vivian contacted me," Elena said. Marcus's mask slipped for just a fraction of a second. He turned his cold stare toward Vivian, who was pressing herself against the wall as if trying to disappear. "My wife has been under quite a bit of stress lately," Marcus said in the smooth tone he used in courtrooms. "I apologize if she's caused any confusion or concern." He stepped into the room and closed the door behind him with deliberate slowness. The air in the room felt suffocating. "Actually, Vivian has been seeing a therapist for some anxiety issues. Sometimes she has episodes where reality becomes unclear for her," Marcus said with a sympathetic smile that never reached his eyes. "I'm sure you understand how embarrassing this is for our family," Marcus said. Elena saw the terror in Vivian and Lily's faces and felt her protective instincts take over completely. "Marcus, we're leaving. Vivian and Lily are coming with us," Elena said. Marcus's false smile vanished instantly, replaced by an expression of ice-cold anger. "That's absolutely not happening. It's inappropriate for outsiders to interfere in private family matters," Marcus said. "Domestic violence is no longer a private family matter," Elena said with unwavering conviction. Marcus's eyes flashed with a dangerous intensity. "Violence? What proof could you possibly have?" At this moment, Isabella stepped forward and carefully pulled several drawings from her backpack. "Here's our proof," she said. Marcus showed genuine alarm for the first time since entering the room. "What kind of children's nonsense is this?" he said. "It's not nonsense," Isabella said, her young hands shaking as she held up one of Lily's most disturbing drawings. The artwork clearly depicted a man striking a woman and child, with dark colors and violent imagery that no 12-year-old should ever have to create. All color drained from Marcus's face as he stared at the evidence. "This is ridiculous. Children have overactive imaginations. They watch too much television," Marcus said. "No, it's all real," Lily spoke up for the first time since her father had entered the room. Though her entire body was trembling, there was a spark of courage growing in her young eyes. "I drew everything I saw. Everything you did to Mommy and me." "Shut your mouth." Marcus roared and took a threatening step toward his daughter. Elena immediately moved to shield Lily with her own body. "Don't you dare touch her," Elena said. "Move aside, teacher." Marcus's voice dropped to a menacing whisper. "This is my home, my family. You have no legal right to interfere," he said. "As a human being, as an educator, as a mother, I have every right to protect children from people like you," Elena replied, refusing to back down even an inch. Marcus seemed to collect himself momentarily, his lawyer training kicking in. "Think carefully about this, Elena. I am a partner at one of the most prestigious law firms in Phoenix. I have connections throughout the legal system and city government. Who do you think they'll believe? A small-town teacher or a respected attorney? My wife is clearly emotionally unstable, and my daughter has been influenced by her delusions," Marcus said. "It's finished, Marcus," Elena said with quiet certainty. "These drawings and Lily's testimony are more than enough evidence. We've already documented everything, and child services will be involved." Marcus's carefully constructed facade finally cracked completely. His face twisted with rage as he stared at Elena, and in the next moment he did something that revealed his true nature. He suddenly lunged forward and grabbed Vivian roughly by the wrist, yanking her against him. "Everyone out of this apartment right now," he snarled, "or I guarantee you'll regret what happens next." Vivian cried out in pain and terror. Lily screamed and Isabella immediately grabbed her friend protectively. The tension in the room reached a breaking point. At that exact moment, they heard the apartment door opening again. "Let go of her immediately, Marcus." A firm, calm voice cut through the chaos. Diego Vasquez stood in the doorway, his usually gentle demeanor replaced by steely determination. "Diego." Elena gasped with overwhelming relief. "Building security called the police after I explained the situation," Diego said steadily. "They're on their way up right now." Marcus visibly faltered, his lawyer's mind quickly calculating his rapidly diminishing options. "The police?" "You have no grounds for involving law enforcement," Marcus said. "As a citizen and as someone who works with child protection software systems, I absolutely have the authority to report suspected child abuse," Diego replied, taking a confident step into the room. "Release your wife immediately," Diego said. Marcus hesitated for several tense seconds, then roughly shoved Vivian away from him. She stumbled, but Elena was there to catch and steady her. "This is all a terrible misunderstanding," Marcus said, desperation creeping into his voice for the first time. "I never intended for things to escalate this way." "I'm a respected member of the legal community," Marcus said. "Not anymore," Diego said with finality. Heavy footsteps echoed from the hallway, and 2 police officers entered the apartment. They quickly surveyed the scene with experienced eyes. "Marcus Chen?" A female officer stepped forward authoritatively. "Sir, we need you to come with us for questioning regarding allegations of domestic violence." Marcus showed a moment of defiance, drawing himself up to his full height, but then his shoulders sagged in defeat. Before being escorted from the room, he turned one last cold, calculating look toward Vivian and Lily, as if memorizing their faces. After Marcus was led away, the apartment fell into a profound silence. Vivian collapsed into Elena's arms, her whole body shaking with exhaustion and relief. Lily stood close to Isabella, both girls holding each other for comfort and support. "Is it really over?" Vivian whispered, her voice barely audible. "Yes, it's over," Elena said gently, stroking Vivian's hair. "You and Lily are safe now." "We'll make sure of that," Elena said. Diego carefully gathered Lily's drawings into a protective folder. "These will be crucial evidence for the case. We'll need to work with social services and the legal system, but Marcus will never be able to hurt either of you again." "Where will we go? What will we do?" Vivian asked, looking lost and overwhelmed. "You're coming home with us tonight," Elena said without hesitation. "We'll figure out everything else one step at a time, together," she added. Fresh tears filled Vivian's eyes, but for the first time they were tears of gratitude rather than fear. "I don't know how to thank you." "You saved our lives," Vivian said. Lily finally stepped away from Isabella and looked up at Elena with eyes that seemed older than her 12 years. "If you hadn't come tonight, we never would have been brave enough to leave," Lily said. "You were already brave, sweetie," Isabella said, squeezing her friend's hand. "You just needed someone to believe in you." The police officers returned to take detailed statements and collect the artwork as evidence. Elena watched as a compassionate female detective carefully examined each drawing and spoke gently with Lily about her experiences. Diego provided guidance about legal resources and began the process of ensuring Vivian and Lily would receive proper protection and support. As the night slowly transformed into early morning, the apartment gradually returned to quiet. It felt as though sunlight was finally penetrating a darkness that had lasted far too long. "Let's go home," Elena finally said, her arm still protectively around Vivian's shoulders. "You both need rest and safety." Vivian and Lily packed a few essential belongings while Isabella helped them choose what was most important to bring. As the 4 of them rode the elevator down to the lobby, Elena's heart broke thinking about all the fear and pain that had filled this beautiful apartment. Before stepping outside into the cool desert night, Vivian turned back once to look up at the glittering tower that had been her prison. "Goodbye," she whispered softly. Her voice carried hope and freedom instead of fear. The 4 of them got into Elena's car and drove through the quiet Phoenix streets toward a new beginning. It was the first night of their real lives. On a warm August afternoon, the Vasquez family hosted a backyard celebration in Phoenix. Their small garden bloomed with desert marigolds and jasmine. Lily, could you help me with the fruit salad? Elena called from the kitchen. Lily appeared with confident steps, her face glowing with happiness. Of course, Elena, she responded cheerfully. 4 months after that terrible night, Lily and Vivian had built a new life in an apartment near the Vasquez home. Vivian worked as a bookkeeper for a non-profit, and Lily thrived at her new school in the art club. Everyone gathered together. Diego called from the patio. Beside him stood a colleague who had helped develop an app for domestic violence victims. Isabella and Lily sat on a colorful blanket, working on a poster for their school art exhibition. Their friendship had deepened through shared recovery. Isabella now wanted to become an art therapist. Vivian, I'm so happy you're here. Elena hugged her friend's shoulders. Vivian smiled with inner peace. You gave us our lives back, Vivian said softly. Marcus Chan had received 5 years in prison and was permanently disbarred. His reputation crumbled, teaching Phoenix about hidden abuse regardless of status. Let's raise our glasses, Diego said. To second chances and new families. Elena reflected on their transformation since that spring night. Terror had been replaced by healing and connection. Mom, look. Isabella pointed to their corner garden. A barrel cactus they'd planted now bloomed with yellow flowers. Elena smiled, watching the blooms dance in the evening breeze. As the sun set behind the mountains, Elena thought, life can change instantly, bringing pain and fear. But with courage and love, it's always possible to find light again. Their story was a beautiful beginning of hope and chosen family.